Thank you. No, I've embraced it. I think now, um, being in this for a year now, it's kind of sunk in that this is my path. You know, you
Okay.
want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. You know, my plan was I was going to be the first person to win a HEGOT. You know, that's an Emmy, a Tony, Oscar, Grammy. You know, I wanted to be the first one to win a Heisman, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. So it was that was it. But I'm enjoying it. Every day I wake up is a new opportunity to get better, to be a great mentor to these young men, and to really develop and influence young lives through the game of football, a game that I know and love. And it's been a learning curve. I mean, to listen to the plays and all the nomenclature and terms is like picking up Shakespeare for the first time. So it takes a while for your ear to get used to it again, but ultimately my goal is to develop these young men, support our coaches, really enhance the footprint of Tennessee State in a major way, and enjoy doing it. I've loved it.
The profile of HBCUs has been raised by you, Dion, and others. How have you embraced that and kind of spread the word?
You know, Dion has his way of doing things. I have mine. You know, and it's great that we both can champion this cause. You know, to bring light to how wonderful the HBCU world is, and just the rich history of these schools. When you think about like the NFL Hall of Famers, when you think about the GOAT of GOATs, two of them, Kerry Rice, Peyton, are there. They both went to HBCUs, and it takes a different mentality. You go through something different. You know, you have to less is more when you come through an HBCU, and you constantly have to overcome a lot of obstacles, and you're battle tested. You're sharpened differently, and you come in with a chip on your shoulder, more so than someone that comes through Ohio State or Notre Dame. So to be a part of this, to kind of lead the charge in it has been an honor. You know, John Merritt's the winningest coach in Tennessee State history, so he left the blueprint of success there that I hope to continue to build on to that.
And you're looking for the same players, you said.
Of no question. if I'm
you want
blessed
as many blue
enough-
chips as anybody.
Of course. I'm not here to hat in hand. I'm here to say, hey, you know, Ohio State, I know the blueprint too. You know, I was born in this. So, but it's exciting, and I thank Ryan Day and the coaching staff here at Ohio State for opening their arms up for us to come in and to learn, to grow, and to be around these young athletes, and it's also to say, hey, you know, if it's the NFL you want to get to, you're going to get there. Whether you're on Mars or you're in a different planet in the universe, they will find you, and they can find you at Tennessee State, and we have the history to show that.
Eddie, you have a game scheduled against Notre Dame coming up. You hoping to get Ohio State on that schedule in the future? You
know, what's interesting, you said that. Gene and I were talking about that the other day. I would love that, actually. Give me a couple years to get somebody in the building based off what I saw today. But, you know, I think that would be a wonderful thing. If I can come back in the stadium as a player, I played here, and to coach now, something I never really thought of doing, to grace the sidelines at Ohio Stadium as a coach would be phenomenal. And I think it'll be a great thing for the fans to see, you know. So if we can ever work that out, it would be awesome.
What does it mean for what you're trying to build there to be getting these kinds of matchups?
It means a lot, because if we want to be the best, we have to play the best, and we have to get trained and beat by the best. I'm not saying we're going to lose. I'm saying what we're going to do is compete, and that's on all levels. You know, we see how things are done here at Ohio State, and Notre Dame is done with detail and is first class personified. And we can definitely do that at Tennessee State, you know, within our budget. It's just being mindful of that. It's being intentional with that, and it's constantly preaching, hey, this is our lifestyle. This is what we're doing from this point moving forward. So it's designed to say, hey, you know, I don't mind playing in Notre Dame. I mean, my motto is I'll play you anytime, anywhere. You know, so that's what I live by, and that's what we want to do.
Your talk up there seemed like it was coming straight from your heart. I mean, are you now a bona fide head coach? Do you feel like that, Eddie?
I don't know what a bona fide head
Yeah,
coach
you know what I'm
feels
saying.
like.
I mean,
I mean,
like you and I talked about before, you got to be all these things. Plus, you get to call plays occasionally.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I do. It's going to be ISO. You know, it's
Yeah.
going to be ISO all day. You
Yeah.
know, but as I'm finding my sea legs in it, I'm doing things that's authentic to me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be Ryan Day. I'm not trying to be Jim Tressel. I'm trying to be me, but I get influence from those guys in terms of how they handle things. But ultimately, I'm trusting my instincts in a lot, and I failed a lot, and I probably will continue to fail. But those again are lessons for me to learn and get better.
And to get that Notre Dame, did Marcus Freeman call you? Did you call Marcus? How did you two former Buckeyes hook up in that Notre Dame matchup for Tennessee
You know,
State?
I never talked to Marcus about it.
Yeah.
I think it was more of the higher ups that really wanted to see this thing happen. I really wasn't pulled in the weeds, but once it got down to the details in terms of payout and all of that, that's when it became real. That's when we began to say, wow, we can truly benefit both parties from this. You know, the win-win for us is national exposure, a national televised game against a worthy opponent. It's coming off a road game overseas in a short week. So and I've seen things happen before in the big house at Appalachian State. So I say all that to say that, you know, anytime we can get that type of notoriety and exposure, we look forward to that.
Well, you have that photo as y'all get ready for that game, that photo, that famous photo of you running away from 8 or 9 Notre Dame players in 1995. Will that be displayed anywhere?
It may be displayed, but I don't want it to work against us.
Yeah.
You know, I tease Jerome Bettis. I send him pictures of that all the time.
Yeah.
And but that could be a display. The history that I've had against Notre Dame. I mean, when you play against an institution like that, so much comes along with it.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the game that started my Heisman Trophy campaign. Was playing them on national television, having 200 some odd yards, and it just started the talk.
Yeah.
So everything with Notre Dame magnifies.
Hey, one other quick thing.
Right now in Trayvon Henderson, it's the same thing. They start with Notre Dame. You talk about the ups and downs of your freshman season. What was it like to watch him last year and respect that from afar?
I mean, I thought he hit it out the park. I mean, he was a phenomenal back who can do so many great things for you with and without the football. You know, I'm more impressed with his blocking ability at that size, his technique, his patience is superior at this point. You don't typically see that in freshmen. I saw that in JK, I saw that in Maurice, Robert Smith had it. When I got here, I did not have that. That's something that had to be developed. So the sky's the limit for this kid in terms of what he can do.
Eddie, how did your experiences playing for Ohio State shape what you're now doing as a head coach?
Oh, it's everything. Everything that I'm doing here at Tennessee State, my experience from Ohio State is led into that. From the discipline to the little things to being efficient with our time, to even the sayings, the corny little quotes that the coaches use, the coach speak. I never thought that I would ever say, but it's so important, you know.
Complacency comes to collect.
Complacency comes to collect. I always say that. And win the surest way, right?
Yeah.
But I bring all of my experience to it. That's what I said. You know, my talk was taking my football experience, my acting experience, my business experience, my father experience into this, and hopefully it will lead to some wins, and hopefully it will lead to some changed lives.
You see HBCU on the rise. You talked about that earlier, but you played with a great Steve McNair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly, Tim. Where can this go, do you think, Eddie?
I think
There's a little cycle going on here?
I don't want it to be a cycle.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for sustainability.
Yeah.
It's like what you see here at Ohio State. I want that for that to be at Tennessee State. You know, the longer I'm there, I want it to continue when I'm done. I want to make it better for the next generation of coaches, the next head coach, so they can carry it and make it sustainable. And let's be clear, you know, there are some sustainable HBCUs like FAMU, Southern, North Carolina A&T. You know, you walk through their facilities based on their budget, you're like, wow, this mind blowing. I mean, so it's about exposure and saying to these young men that, you know, there are other options out there for you to have a wonderful career and play beyond.